What is going on? It's DJ Ash Noble here, and we are back live. Now, let me tell you, let me ask you, how clear, how clean is this live stream? Yes, people, the time has finally come. The time is finally here. I am on a new phone. Yes, believe it or not, I'm finally on a new phone. Can you believe it? I know it's been a heck of a long time. So for those of you who don't know, I essentially had a phone almost a year ago that broke, and my nan, bless her, lent me a phone which was um, which was not really any use, to be honest. It was all right, but it had its downs where it was just not really that good. It was just slow. It lagged. The camera quality was awful, and it just did not look good at all. So we fast forward to today, and I am now obviously on a brand new phone. So this is the first live stream of many on a brand new phone. So we're here with the Stomp for Cancer Aftermath. Now, the Stomp for Cancer was my latest booking that took place on Friday down in Norwich, where I went into a nightclub and played my first ever sort of like classic 90s sort of trance set. And all I'm going to say is that it absolutely went so differently to what I ever thought it was going to go. And all I'm going to say is that I absolutely loved every single moment of it. And I think a lot of why sort of like it went different to what I thought it was going to go was probably just down to me actually physically doubting myself, because I've never played trance in a nightclub before, and as a matter of fact, I don't spin trance all that often, and I do actually really enjoy it, and I do actually want to play it a little bit more, and I'm going to dive into it and download like more of it. So anyway, cut the story short, I really, really enjoyed the set. So we was down in Norwich for Stomp for Cancer. There was a range of DJs and MCs that were playing on the night. There was a range of music from the classic trance, sort of like all the way up to your hardcore and your hard style, and even a little bit of your raw style. There was even some D&B, and it was a mixed, multi-genred night. They were raising money, obviously, for cancer, and I can reveal that they did raise just over £600, which is really good, and that is going to beat cancer, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. So that'll be really good. The night itself was a really enjoyable night from the start to the finish. And one thing that really blows my mind is you come so far. I mean, we came from Hull. It was about a nearly 4 hour drive. And you go all that way, and then you go to a venue, and then you see so many people that you know. And then instantly it doesn't feel like you're in a foreign town anymore, and it feels like you've just come out in your local town and you've met up with all your mates. So we got there, and there were so many people that I knew, so many people that I'd obviously seen from other raves, and so many different things going on, and so many different things happening, that it was just crazy. So there was people that I knew, and instantly, like I say, I just felt right at home. The venue itself was a really weird venue, but it was a really good venue at the same time. But there was some downsides to it, and I do want to discuss them downsides a little bit later on. Just in personal preference, that I just think kind of sort of ruined. I don't want to say ruined the night, but it certainly, if this wasn't a thing, this night would have had even more potential than it had. Just essentially, in my opinion. So I played the last set downstairs, and then it sort of like closed and became like a little bit of a private thing, just for some of the artists and that were playing, and the promoters and things. actually closed to the public. They actually shut that room and closed the bar. And the upstairs stayed open for the final remainders of the night, which it went on till 4 in the morning. So we get to Norwich anyway. We sort of had a little bit of a sat nav taking us the wrong way, taking us through a town instead of bypassing it, and so we eventually get to our hotel. About 8, it's sort of just 8, just after, I think, 7:45 maybe. I can't remember fully, but I know the time had been getting on, and stuff like that. And anyway, essentially, cut the story short. Um, we finally get to the hotel. We get checked in, so it's just a case of checking in quickly, just quickly getting a quick change of clothes, and then sort of getting back out and trying to get to the venue. And the hotel people tell us the dreaded news that the taxis were delayed by at least about an hour. And we go outside, and I think a taxi had come to pick up somebody else, and we actually have convinced them, look, just we need to get to this venue. Look, please just take us. And after a little bit of booming and ahhing and a bit of backwards and forwards, we get in the taxi, and we get to the venue. And so the night begins. I do a bit of MCing as well. Always like to grab the mic, and it always blows people away, especially when you go to a place where you're sort of like maybe playing for the first time, and some people don't know you, apart from people that do know you. So there's quite a few people that were kind of like. Didn't know some of the people on these lineups, and then they hear me DJ, and they're kind of like, like, wow, this guy can DJ good. And I blew people away with my classic trance set. But then when they hear me jump on the mic as well, and then they think, wow, this guy can spit bars as well, it's like a double whammy. So it really blows them away, because they don't expect it. And I mean, come on, I mean, look at me. I don't look like the guy who's just about to jump on in a rave and grab a mic and go, biddy biddy bad boy, check 1 2. Do you know what I mean? Um, I always think I look like a young kid who would play video games and watch movies, but that's completely the opposite. I get on the raves, and I get on the session most weekends. And when I say get on the session, I don't mean like getting absolutely spangled and taking drugs, but what I mean is like I go to raves and I'll have late nights, and then the next day I would go to another rave, which is what happened this weekend, as I'll explain. So I think when people do see me like raving it up and then jumping on the mic and spitting, and then going behind the decks and playing, like a classic set, and they're thinking, how does this young kid know all them old tunes? They were coming out when I was in my youth, and how does this guy know them? And there's me playing like York on the Beach and Heart of Asia, and they're thinking, how does he know them? Um, so downstairs we played on a Denon Prime 4 in white. And do you know what? The system was absolutely beautiful. The decks were just so nice, and it really felt like I was behind like some real big sort of complicated piece of equipment. And it almost just looked like some real big like space gadget that would come fresh out of the gadget shop. It had all these different colours and all these different screens doing, well, this big screen and all these different things on the screen happening. And there was just so many things to look at, and it's like just small hands on this real great big thing. But I loved it. I've been on Denon Prime 4s before, but I've never like really physically done a full set on one, apart from just spinning a few tunes at my mate's house who has one in black. So when I got to do a full set in a club, I thought, how is this gonna stand for its test in the club? Because people say Pioneers, and I've never used Denon in a club before. I've always used Pioneer, but to be fair, the Denons held out really well. Everything was just so nice. The jog wheels. The only thing I'd say about the jog wheels, and I don't think this was the equipment's fault. I think it's due to a setting that you can change. But when you don't really, when you don't know the system, and you don't know the equipment too fully itself. you don't really want to go pressing all these like settings buttons, but essentially I just think the jog wheel essentially was just a little bit loose, so like it span a little bit too quick, and it was very easy to like just knock it out a beat. And I'm sure, I know on the Pioneers there's like a button you can press on, like a little not dial knob you can turn, and it'll like tighten the jog wheel up, and I'm sure you can do it on the Denons. But like I say, just because I'm a bit new to that equipment, I didn't want to go pressing loads of buttons that I didn't know about, sort of while I'm halfway through a set. So obviously your pitch, cue, play, your faders, mid highs, lows. I know all of them buttons because you get them on most pieces of equipment. But all these other settings that you don't know. I didn't, like I say, I didn't want to go pressing something and then knocking something and then just making things 10 times worse. I could still mix with it. It just, in some sense, it just could have done to have been just a like a tiny bit tighter. Really, it was just almost like you could just press it. You could just spin it, and it just spin like for quite quickly. Very easy to do back spins. Definitely. But I didn't do any with it being trance. It was just real nice, sort of like blends and filters and transitions, and it just really good, to be honest with you. So yeah, my set went really well. Like I say, I sort of dreaded it and doubted it at first because I thought, you know what, I don't really play trance out much, and I felt like I've kind of been thrown in at the deep end here. But then getting behind them decks just sort of really showed me, like, you know what, I really can DJ. And I can't just DJ one genre. Do you know what I mean? So it really sort of opened my eyes and made me feel a bit, like, yeah, I've done all right. Like, I felt proud of myself. Felt like I'd achieved something, which was really good. Do you know what I mean? So, like I say, it was good. Oh, so yeah, so we stayed at the hotel, like I say, stayed at a Holiday Inn, and it overlooked onto the football pitch, which was really nice. It was good actually. But yeah, I didn't realise that my window actually looked onto the football pitch. So we got there on the evening, and it got dark by this point. Um, so I had a little look out of my window, and I was doing like an Instagram story, and I could just sort of see all these like little metal piping, which I couldn't really fully make out what it was. It was actually like part of the roof to part of the stadium, but I just saw these like little pipes, and these little like roof bits, and I thought, you know what, it's just one of them real shit view areas where you look down and there's like a little fire exit, and there's all the wheelie bins and all the litter and stuff, and just that real sort of like back alley sort of view. So in the live stream, I said, in the Instagram story, I said, yeah, the view's nothing to really get excited about. It's not that good. And then next morning, I open my curtains and it's daylight, and it actually looks onto the full blown football pitch, and that little bit of roof was just a little bit of roof at the side of, just near the edge of my window, and it just was like, just like a little bit of a roof to part of the grandstand. And I was like, oh, this view's actually not bad. And you can actually look onto the whole football pitch itself, which was quite a cool thing. So that was good. The checkout time was midday, but I got woke up just after 9 by my friends, like, yeah, we're up and awake. And I thought, because I don't really drink now, as you know. I sort of try and take it a bit more steadier, and especially if I'm playing as well, I feel like I'm going there to do a good job, so, which I am. So I like to go sober, and I like to give my potential. Sometimes if I'm going to an event and I'm not playing, I'm just going raving, sometimes I'll have a couple of beers, but I have more or less knocked it on the head. So essentially, me other friend is a drinker, and he got absolute. He picked me up, and he was passenger in the car with me other friend who was driving, and he's opening the beers just more or less as he picked me up, and by the time we get get to Norwich, he's already had a few and he's already feeling it. So by the time it got to like early hours, he was totally gone. You know, he was smashed, he was hammered. So obviously, I thought he's not going to wake up early in the morning. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be rough as anything. And he even said to me on the night while drunk, like, I'm not going to get up till probably about midday, mate. So here's me getting all chilled out in my jammies, and then next thing they're knocking me up about 10 past 9. Like, yeah, we're ready to go, and I'm thinking, oh, I feel tired. Like, are you having a laugh? Like, I feel shattered here. So do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was an absolutely amazing night anyway. It was enjoyable. Like I say, met loads of people I know, met new people, had a good laugh, I had a good boogie, did a bit of MCing, did a bit of DJing, which was really good. It was just amazing. It was a really enjoyable night. It was a pleasure to play for him. And it was nice just to go down and stop in a hotel and just have that little bit of a different experience, because it's not often I do go and like stay in hotels and stuff. And it's just really nice to go and like see these new places. And I guess the only downfall, the only gutting thing, I suppose, would be that, not getting long enough there. Like if you maybe like having 2 nights and then having a day to like explore or something. So like, maybe going down Thursday night or something, and then, sort of having Friday to sort of like explore Norwich and have a little look round and stuff would have been a nice thing. But obviously other people and work, when you're traveling with people, you can't always have that luxury. But it was nice just to go down, get away, stay somewhere. I do like holidays and I do like traveling. I do like going to different places. So yeah. Anyway, so on to what the venue really could have done differently. Um, so when you go into the venue itself, when you first go through the front doors, there's like a main bar area, and it wasn't anything to do with the event, which was a little bit of a letdown to start off with. Um, the second thing is that they're playing like commercial music. So you've got like your DJ that's mixing a bit of hip hop and R&B. You've got a bit of Billie Jean coming in, and then you've maybe got like sort of a newish sort of chart tune. Um, and then you go through like a door and you come to like a bit of a corridor, and if you go upstairs, it takes you to the main room. If you go downstairs, it takes you to another room. So to sort of get to that sort of like Stomp for Cancer sort of event part, you've got to go through this commercial room. And it wasn't really advertised, the Stomp for Cancer, that it was in this sort of like these other rooms. And when I first got to the event, and I come into this first room, and they said, "Oh, the main room's upstairs." I thought, "All right, so this is the room, where I'm gonna be playing, my trance set." And then I got looked at the setup and the equipment. I thought, wait, this isn't a Denon Prime. I was told I'm playing on a Denon Prime, and this is like some little tractor controller with a laptop. So I'm thinking, surely something's not right here. And then I realised that the actual room I was playing in was downstairs in like a basement room. So you've got to go through this commercial room to get to the other two rooms. But the other two rooms should have been advertised a little bit more in that first room. Because it was almost like when you walk through that commercial room, it's like you're then going to a completely different club. And there was quite a lot of people that was going to this commercial room. But I think that was a little bit of a letdown, because people was kind of like they was in this room, and there wasn't really anything that was really, apart from hearing a bit of music, there wasn't really anything that was really dragging them to come to these other rooms. So you kind of like, so it was a little bit annoying. So essentially, I think having that room on is a little bit, little bit of little bit of a bad thing really. And sometimes venues will do this as well, because if they'll let you put an event on if you're gonna sort of like, if they can charge to hire their venue out, so they can charge an event promoter and say, look, you can have these rooms in my club, blah blah blah, pay this much, they're going to get paid for using them rooms essentially. But then at the same time, they can open up another room of their own, and have their own night on that they know is going to do well, their own sort of like commercial thing. So they're kind of like, like you're in battle really. Like, yeah, I have my rooms, but f your event. We're gonna put this commercial thing on in here. So everyone's still sort of like going to this commercial room, because it's you can't not go to it. You've got to go through it to get to the other room. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, there's other venues where like, they put a big sort of like event on, so sort of like in the main room, but then they'll have like the house and R&B sort of in the second room. And a lot of people, especially like who just go out around the town and stuff and start off in a few pubs and then end up in the club, they'll go to that other room because you need to sort of it in some sense. There needs to be a balance and a work, I think, really. If there's a special event on, the club should be for that special event. And there shouldn't be something else in that other room, unless of course two brands are sort of collabing. But what I'm saying is like the normal club just opening up a room and sticking their commercial stuff in. um where knowing that people always come anyway, because they go out around the town and they get razzled and they come in here anyway. Right, it's just a little bit annoying really, when they could sort of like just keep it to the brand and say, look, for one off weekend, because this brand's here, it's all about them this weekend, and it's them in it, it's what they're doing, it's their vibe. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, but other than that, it was an absolutely belting day. So what can I say? What can I say? But other than that, yeah, belting day, belting event. Obviously, I put a little video up, little clips of some of my sets. I used to do it about a year ago, but then obviously when my phone broke and I got that little shitty one, I wasn't, the phone just wasn't good enough to do that. But now I'm on this brand new one, which is I think it's the Redmi Note Pro 9 or something like that. But now I'm on this phone and it's like really fast, and the quality on it's amazing. I mean, even this live stream now even just looks so much better. I've got the luxury to be able to take more video clips of me in action at events and things, and we'll get more footage about the events, and hopefully they'll become a bit more interesting again. So next up for me is Bound Central next Friday, and then on the Saturday I've got a little kid's birthday party, and I'm just in the moment I'm just trying to sort a few things out, because there might be a possibility that I might have to pull out of a booking. And obviously, sadly, as much as I hate to do it, I would have to pull out of the Bounce Central, because the kid's birthday party, I already booked in, and that I've already been paid for that. I've just been paid today for that actually. And that was already, I've already agreed and said yes to that one way before this Bound Central one came in the pipeline. But I wasn't sure on the date for the kid's birthday, which, I knew it was the beginning of October. I just didn't know if it was like officially going to be like this weekend, or if it was going to be like the following weekend. So, what my issue is I getting back from Doncaster, because obviously, I've got to be, so essentially the Bound Central starts at 7, 7 or half 7 or something, and finishes at half midnight. So what I was going to do is play, like, if I'm on like an earlyish set, play the early set, stick around for a little bit, and then shoot off and get the last train back. However, the only issue is that the venue itself is actually just on the outskirts of Doncaster. So I get a train to Doncaster, and then I've got to get another train to this other station that is just literally on the outskirts of Doncaster. And then I'd have to get that train back and then get the last train home. So it's going to be a little bit of a push and a squeeze. I've got to like sort a few things out, which is a little bit annoying. So what can I say? But anyway, the point being is, you know, we're gonna find out what happens. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this stream. Make sure to like, comment, share. Peace out. Take it easy.